All right. Good
Good.
afternoon and happy Sunday to everybody in the Star Trek family. So happy to see all of you guys here today. Welcome to our second full day of Voyager 30, our 30th anniversary celebration of Star Trek Voyager, which aired on January the 16th of 1995. I was 16 years old. Oh my gosh, that's such a long time ago. Today we have a full slate of events, ranging from our first event of this morning, where we're going to be watching a live for television segment that was produced for E Inside or Entertainment Inside, where they went very early on, I think it was in 1995, onto the set of Voyager and did some behind the scenes things. They talked to the actors, they kind of talked to all of the production crew. So this is a really cool little mini documentary. The footage is, as you would expect from 1995 television. Sometimes it's a little blurry, but it's a really good little mini documentary. So we're going to start off with that, and then we'll come back afterwards and talk about sort of the making of Star Trek Voyager. Later this afternoon, we have a watch party at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. That is for one of my favorite episodes of Voyager, Counterpoint. So don't miss that. We'll watch the episode, we'll discuss it. And then this evening, we have our first big live Q&A session. So for those of you that don't know, there is a big Voyager documentary being produced right now called To the Journey. It is being produced by the same people that did What We Left Behind, the documentary about DS9. And so tonight we're going to be having the producer and co-directors, both co-directors, will be on to kind of give us an update on where that's at. We can ask questions about the process of making the documentary. It has taken quite some time to make it, so we can get a little update. And they're going to be showing us some very special behind the scenes clips, sneak peeks, if you will, of the documentary. So that's really cool. You don't want to miss that.
I want to say really quickly, hi, Valerie. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Marissa. You're
Yes.
there.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. It's so
Welcome.
good to see you.
Before we dive into Inside Voyager,
Okay.
I do want to point out that all throughout the month of January, in conjunction with Voyager 30, we are raising money for charity. It's a nonprofit out of Los Angeles called the Hollywood Food Coalition, which is run by John Billingsley, Dr. Phlox himself. And what they do is they rescue food from the local film studios and they repackage it, repurpose it, and then they feed the hungry in
Thank
Los
you.
Angeles County. They also provide clothing and warm blankets and bathroom kits with like toothbrushes and things and shower trucks for the homeless population of LA. So this is a really good cause, and we're really excited and appreciative of them. So at any point during today's events, you will see a QR code or a donation link in the chat during the Zoom. Feel free to please consider making a donation of any amount. Anybody who does donate to that charity today, we have some Voyager-related prizes that we're giving away. So if you donate, your name will be put into a drawing. We will pull a name at the end of the evening, and that person will win the prize. Today's prize.
Papa has chess.
Which price?
I don't have a plate.
Yeah, sure. Excuse me.
Today's prize. Sorry, is there a
Oh.
question?
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was going to be that prize.
I'm getting ready to tell you. It is a collector's edition Star Trek The Voyager, the official magazine, issue number 15. I know that. And it has crew posters and all sorts of behind the scenes interviews and information about the filming of Voyager. I think this was somewhere around season 3 that this came out, but this is a collector's edition. It's in mint condition. And so that is the prize for today. So if you make any donations, we really appreciate it. And we will let you know if you win at the end of the evening. All right. Are we ready to watch some Inside behind the scenes information?
Mm-hmm.
I won this too.
Give me any napkins.
It's a really nice magazine, and I'm really happy I was able to get my hands on it. So, all right, I will share my screen, and we will start playing the documentary. We ask everybody to either mute your microphone or turn off your camera. That will help us with streaming bandwidth. And then once the documentary is over, we will come back and have a quick discussion. So sit back and enjoy. if I have it on the right screen. That would be helpful.
Red alert!
Excellent. Rain and thunder and yelling and chaos. Chorus girls, and it'll be great.
Roll, please!
Name the only television series to appear on the cover of TV Guide before the editors of the publication could even see the show. Well, the answer's easy, of course. Star Trek Voyager. Hello, I'm Robert Duncan McNeil, and this is E's journey inside Star Trek Voyager. Now, on the series, I play Lieutenant Tom Paris, and during the next 60 minutes, my fellow castmates and I are going to take you on board and behind the scenes of Voyager to show you how we put the action into our high-flying adventure.
Action!
For 2 wide-open weeks, we let camera crews follow us inside, outside, and all around our state-of-the-art set to capture this exclusive look at what makes Voyager fly.
If you're not wearing a spacesuit, get out of the corridor.
You'll see Tim Russ grow his Vulcan ears, Ethan Phillips lose his alien teeth, Roxanne Biggs-Dawson will model the latest in Starfleet fashion, while Mr. Blackwell sizes up Star Trek style as only he can.
I see no hope for the future.
Plus, we'll give you a guided tour through the most spectacular chambers of the Voyager, including the bridge, courtesy of the captain herself, Kate Mulgrew.
I'm always here saying, you want to screw around with me, you're in trouble.
But before we get to that, a quick note. This show, of course, will be Klingon friendly, so the graphics you see throughout will appear in both Klingon and English. And here's an example. This says, well, I won't even attempt to read what that says, but in English it translates to, "Where's the bathroom?" which of course can come in real handy when you're lost 70,000 light years from home like we are on Voyager. But let's get things underway by answering a question almost 30 years in the making. After 3 previous Star Trek television shows, not to mention 7 motion pictures, why have audiences so eagerly beamed aboard Voyager? Well, I happen to know a few people who might have an idea.
The possibilities, the wonder, a completely different and new world.
The looking forward and progressing, seeing what we might be like in the future is intoxicating to people, I think.
It's imagination combined with a deep and fine intelligence. We're getting ready to leave. Let me show you to the bridge.
Originally, when it first came out, that was one of the first really... well, people got really gung-ho into science fiction.
They like the optimism and, the optimistic view of the future.
Actually, I don't have an answer for why it's so enduring. I was trying to make something up, but it didn't work. So, anyway. Next question.
Well, it's the effort that counts, Garrett. While the reason for Star Trek's enduring appeal may be open to interpretation, the success of the franchise is indisputable. The original series is still airing throughout the world nearly 30 years after its debut. The Next Generation earned 18 Emmy Awards in its 7-year run, and Deep Space Nine logged the highest debut in syndication history. Together, these programs set a lofty standard for our show to attain.
Let's try that again, please.
But Voyager has proven worthy of its mission, capturing millions of viewers from the moment it launched. But while matching the success of the previous shows was important, so too was separating Voyager from its predecessors.
We came up with 3 major premises that were different. One was that was a female captain. One was the whole idea of these Maquis, these rebels. And the third is to take the ship and to take its crew and to fling them to the other side of our galaxy.
Somewhere along this journey, we'll find a way back.
We're still dealing with the same optimistic future, but we've thrown our people off into a place where they're alone. So without the support systems, without the ability to call for help, without the advice of Starfleet, they are back to basics.
Back to basics, but with a groundbreaking captain, played by Kate Mulgrew. She replaced Geneviève Bujold just weeks before shooting began. But Kate had little trouble stepping into Janeway's jumper.
It was total ownership, or it was nothing. And it emanated really perfectly naturally from me. And then I sort of looked around and everybody was going, I think we might actually have something to do here next week. It suited me. It feels good. All senior officers report to the bridge immediately.
With Kate leading the way, we all managed to slip easily into our characters.
Often actors grope for their characters. It takes them, if not a few episodes, sometimes a season, to really sort of try things and test it out and see who they are. These people, for whatever reason, knew instantly who they were and what they were about.
As for how we got up to speed so quickly, we all give credit to one essential element.
The care that the producers put into the writing.
The stories are so well written.
Well, there's no question that the writing is superior.
It creates thoughts in my mind, and I know if it's creating thoughts in my mind, or at least I hope, that it's going to please the audience and the viewers.
The folding of space should create a subspace residue. If we can detect one, we might be a step closer to knowing how the trajectory works.
Any Star Trek episode, I would say, is the hardest kind of writing I have ever done. The demands are extraordinary. It is a well-crafted, thoughtful, intelligent human drama.
And every episode features the most torturous, tongue-twisting technical terminology heard in television.
If we could modify the deflector array to emit phase neutrinos, we could create a big enough bubble.
It's called technobabble, okay, and it comes in threes, all right? So you coherent tetryon beam, polarized magnetic variation. And if they really want to mess you up, they give you 5. The writers will give you 5 in a row. It's a single class 3 humanoid organism, and that's 5 in a row.
I had a line once, and we were running out of camera, and we were at the end of the day, and everybody wanted to go home, and I couldn't say spatial distortions. I kept saying facial distortions.
What did I have to say yesterday? I had to say Sikaris has a mantle of tetrahedral quartz 20 kilometers thick.
And then another time, I was supposed to say subspace beacon, and I kept saying subspace bacon.
The crystalline structure of the mantle serves to focus and amplify the trajectory field.
Is that the rumor that I'm the one that has the most problem? Probably so, yeah.
Every script has a pronunciation guide because whether it's an alien being or race, that has to be phonetically, marked out so that everybody says the same thing.
Accuracy, without a doubt, is a top priority on Voyager because if we make a mistake, any mistake, our fans, the Trekkers, will let us know about it.
And they do call us on occasion. They have all of the elements in particular in terms of consistency about what we do, how we do it.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to dictate to us, because we don't believe that that's the process that we work under here. But they influence us, and we listen to them.
I just try to do my work the best I can and hope that by doing that it will please them.
But when you have fans that are that appreciative, it really is an honor to play to them.
Mr. Paris, set a course for home.
On second thought, set a course to stay with us for the next hour, because when we return, our tour of the ship begins in the power-packed home of the Voyager's warp drive. Plus, we'll venture behind the scenes of the special effects department to see what really makes the Voyager fly. Welcome back to E's 60-minute look inside Star Trek Voyager. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil. Throughout the history of Star Trek, we've gotten to know dozens of intriguing life forms, from Vulcans and Romulans to Ocampas and Cardassians. But our series features a life form unlike any other seen before, and its name is Voyager.
It's got these bio-neural fibers that have replaced the standard conduits that run throughout the ship. So there's a biological component to this ship.
Biological components. Welcome to the Voyager, a living entity, a vast, complex monument to Hollywood's limitless engineering and special effects prowess.
I want the ship to look like a ship. At the same time, we want it to look like Star Trek. if someone is flipping the channels, well then, and they go past this, they should be able to recognize it as a Star Trek episode.
There's no mistaking the Voyager as a Federation starship, but this model comes with some interesting options.
Well, Voyager will be a smaller ship than the Enterprise was, but it will be a newer model, much more action-oriented ship. It's a definite military ship as opposed to an exploration vessel. There won't be families on board, and it will have a sleeker, more aggressive look than the Enterprise.
The interior sets at Paramount Studios are incredibly detailed.
I love the mess hall set with the big, with the endless stars outside the windows. It's really cool. I think the bridge, I think we have the best bridge of any, forgive me, but of any starship we've had so far. We have a terrific bridge.
The room that impresses me the most is the ready room. That's where the captain kind of retires in between bridge assignments. And I like that room because it's got these really cool seats, and it's really curvy, and there's a great view of space, and she has a really neat desk, and I like to be in that room.
Speaking of impressive sets, take a look under Voyager's hood.
Here we are. This is engineering. This is the hunting grounds of Torres, the bowels of the ship, and we're going to head on over to one of the most important parts of the USS Voyager. This is the warp core. The state that it's in right now, this is at impulse power. And right now, let's go to warp. There we go. Warp power right there. Warp power is when you are bending space. You have warp 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The highest is 9.9. You can't be warp 10. Because if you're warp 10, that means you are at every point of the universe simultaneously. We have ATM machines over here, actually, in case you need to get some cash. There are little stickers you can see up here with, they're just saying, this says access panel, but underneath there's always some type of funny message. Like this one, it says, remember, no matter where you go, there you are. This last one is, just sit right back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship.
You could probably fit the entire minnow on the Voyager's bridge, the most detailed set on the starship.
You really put a lot of time in development of the bridge, and it was very exciting watching it come together. Pieces, I mean, just when they'd come in with a new railing and everything, and you get to see it. The workmanship, I think the crews have done excellent job. The craftsmanship is, I think, top rate.
Voyager's special effects people know all about craftsmanship.
The technology is just astounding. What's gone on from what we did on the original show, actually what we did on the pilot with hoses and moving things and a lot of puppeteering work, to what we're doing right now, which is we're really into some electronics.
That's putting it mildly. These days, buzzwords are computer-generated imaging, but that's just a bit of what it takes to create, say, an explosion in space.
You have to have the crew photographing the model, lighting the model, designing the shot, and we have to transfer that to digital video, composite the shot, then we have to set up an explosion, photograph that with a high-speed camera, optically superimpose that with the ship.
Somewhat simpler, but equally as effective, are the matte paintings rendered for the show.
What we're hired to do here at Illusion Arts is to create shots that don't normally exist in life. For instance, a science fiction city or some sort of elaborate background that would be too expensive to build or to create in any other way. Building a set, for instance, would be way too expensive. So they come to us, and we can create these environments, cheaply and relatively quickly. And the end result is this fantastic vista for relatively little money.
All in all, some pretty heady stuff. But on the Voyager, state-of-the-art is the only way to fly. Our tour of the Voyager has just begun, so stick around. We still have the transporter room coming up, and of course, the bridge. But first, all you trekkers out there, step forward. When we come back, we'll turn our tricorders on you. Welcome back. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil, and this is E's 1 hour behind-the-scenes look at Star Trek Voyager. Here's another little trivia tidbit for you. Did you know that every weekend in at least 4 different U.S. cities a Star Trek convention is held? Lucky for us, when it comes to Trekkers, there's no such thing as too much Star Trek. We all know about the legendary allegiance of Trekkers, but they still took us by surprise when they sent fan mail before the first episode even aired.
It's funny because some of them are like, some of the letters are like, yeah, I followed your career for the last 10 years. I'm like, oh, let's see, I was, what, 7 then or something, you know? I wasn't even acting then. You know, but for the most part, they're very nice, they're very cordial.
It really was welcome to our world mail. And a lot of it was, I mean, it's very articulate, really wonderful welcoming wagon. That's what they were. It was a welcome wagon. It was great.
I have personal friends who are great Star Trek fans, but I haven't met the hardcore Trekkers yet. So I can't really tell you at this point how I feel. I have a mixture of anticipation and dread.
Well, ready or not, Robert will get his chance to meet the hardcore Trekkers at any one of the hundreds of Star Trek conventions staged each year.
It's great, I think, to have something in one's life that is something that you really spend a lot of time and energy doing, and everybody has it. You know, marathon runners have it. They have to run. That's their religion. And for those who believe in organized religion, that's what they do a lot. They spend all their time in their life. So these fans spend a lot of their time focusing on this.
In addition to meeting their favorite Star Trek actors, conventions also give Trekkers a chance to catch up on the latest collectibles.
We do T-shirts and more of the souvenir novelty kind of items that the fans want to come to a convention and buy.
Berman's firm, Creation Entertainment, is responsible for more than 200 Star Trek products that are sold at the various conventions. Since 1971, Berman has been staging these gatherings, meeting fans from all over the world.
We're getting about 400,000 people a year, so it's quite a nice endeavor. All ages, all types, doctors, lawyers, school teachers, runs the gamut, really does. It started as a hobby and grew into a business, and I can't think of a better way to earn a living.
Participating in a marketing campaign is a new experience for most of us. So is being the model for an action figure.
The actors love to say that they're not impressed by that, but the minute they get their own action figures, they take them into their trailers and they sit and they look at them and they explore them.
I suppose when I see a Neelix doll, I'll think about it. I don't know what I'll think, though. I'll have to wait to see what happens.
It would just be sort of a curiosity, sort of a thing. It's, oh, does it look like me? Oh, okay, like it does, and then that would be it.
I tell you, I have a daughter who's 4.5. I have 2 kids and a 9-month-old. But my daughter, since she started watching some of the shows, has become obsessed with Tuvok. Tuvok is the hottest character to 4-year-olds, so I would have to say Tuvok's going to be the big seller.
If you've got your eye on one of the action figures but can't make it to a convention, try calling 1-800-TREKKER. That's right. There's actually a phone service where you can buy anything from a holographic photo to a burner cover. While all this merchandising can be dizzying for an actor, the outstanding chemistry of the cast keeps us all focused.
These 9 actors have melded in a way that is something you would expect after 2-3 years. And they did it almost immediately.
I think the actors all like each other, and everyone has a nice sense of humor, which is unusual. Robert Beltran has a completely unexpected sense of humor if you've only seen his character.
This we carried, and the Voyager female crewmates really like cut that.
And John Phillips, Ethan John Phillips, we all call him John, is extremely funny, who plays Neelix.
I did an audition. My mom knows one of the producers, and they just did it as a favor. They were like other qualified actors that were probably better for the part, but like I had contacts and stuff.
I don't mean to make it sound like only the men are funny. You know, it's just I only find men funny. It's just one of those things, you know. Find women cute and men funny. I mean, there's some funny women out there.
My relationship with these guys is sublime to a man. That's a very rare thing. You probably aren't going to hear that again for a long time. If you've ever heard it in an interviewing capacity. There's usually somebody who's a little rocky or a little shaky, the chemistry's off. this is not the case.
Still to come, we'll join Star Trek's first female captain for a tour of the bridge. But when we return, it's off to the transporter room with Garrett Wang, and we'll find out where Tim Russ gets those pointy ears. Welcome back to E's one-hour journey inside Star Trek Voyager. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil. Perhaps the ultimate sign of a show's popularity is when words or phrases from the program become a part of our everyday language. Think about the influence of Star Trek. At one time or another, you've probably said space, the final frontier, or to boldly go where no one has gone before, or initiating evasive pattern Omega Mark. Okay, well, maybe not that last one, but there is one other classic Star Trek line that no one can resist, not even a Klingon.
Well, here we are. This is the transporter room. This is the transporter pad that we're on right now. And as you can see, we can beam in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A family of 6 can come in here. This was the original transporter ceiling used in Star Trek 1, the first film. They sort of revamped it for us, but I think that's a kind of neat piece of Trek history and trivia for everyone to know. Okay, why don't you come up here for a second and show you some stuff. Here we are. This is the console area where the transporter chief, whoever that may be at the time, resides. Stuff on the wall. Oh, this is kind of neat. This is one of the cooler effects, I guess, that's working. What it does is it just tells me in terms of whether or not the transport is going okay, kind of a thing. This is the sensor, touch sensor pad, which beams somebody in, beams somebody out. Oh, look how beautiful that looks. Why don't we just take a last shot of that? Look at that. Look at the yellow lighting right there and the blue. It's very color coordinated.
Someone's altered the security subroutines.
Why would anyone do that?
Never mind. Beam me down.
Are you crazy? Security will spot you before you even get there.
As Voyager continues the Star Trek tradition of exploring new frontiers, some members of the cast are confronted with a new challenge.
A pretty strong glue. Strong enough that if you don't get it off, it'll be on there for 2 weeks afterwards. So you can't pull these off that easy once they're on. They won't come off, at least not without a few layers of skin.
Well, I'm usually given 3 hours prior to set call for whatever is the first scene that I'm in. They create this. You know, I don't do this. They do this.
There's a lot of work that has to be done. I just go into my trailer and I fall asleep, and my makeup artist does the work. So I wake up and I look like this. It's kind of amazing. I don't really know it's there until we remove it, because basically my forehead and scalp go numb. And they do though. And it's not until it's removed that I can really feel the skin again. So it's not really a problem.
I really, really wish that I had prosthetics, because I prefer to wake up at 3 in the morning, because that's usually when I do my best concentration and so much more into the day when I can have no sleep.
I tell you, I feel fine about not missing it. You know, some of those guys, like Ethan Phillips, who plays Neelix, they're in for 3-4 hours before anybody else gets here.
I've arrived at the set at 3:30 in the morning to get the makeup on for 6:30 report to the set. So 3:30, and I live in my home is in Santa Barbara, so I'm getting up at about 11 o'clock in the evening, shower, drive here. I have very long days.
I will make the exchange with Jared Hotel.
Call time is a little later for Tim Russ, who plays Tuvok the Vulcan.
It's 6 o'clock this morning. Actually, earlier in the week it was more like 5. Always dark, usually in the winter. So, well, about 45 minutes to do all this. Mark Shellstrom here is the artist at hand, and
You'll have to put like several colors together to make them look natural.
Part of Tim's makeup ritual involves attaching his Vulcan ears.
It's not a large appliance, but it takes time because you have to blend them to the ear so that they not only match the color of your skin, but they also will match the texture. When I first started wearing them, I forgot they were on, so I got an itch. I'd go up there and fingers full of makeup and stuff.
Tim's ears are custom made.
They are made to order on molds of Tim's ears. And we have 4 molds, so we can run 4 pairs of ears a day.
We have another lab over on stage 10 that we've had since day 1 with Next Generation. And that's where all the foam work and the plaster work is done. It's the ultimate, it's the ideal that any makeup artist could ever do, because I have probably here poured more plaster. It's tons. We've literally made tons of molds. The latex we've gone through goes into the multi-50-gallon drums, the gallons and gallons, hundreds of gallons of latex.
You don't need latex for Tim's hair.
I just trim, the edge here to the front, certainly, so that it's, I think the temple's out, the temple's in here, but so that there's a consistent, smooth hairline.
I've got to shave the tips of the eyebrows right here on the edges. It's a very neat trick to get these things on. It drives you crazy, man, if somebody else will put liner on the bottom of your eye. It's like sitting in a dentist chair. That's it, boys. That's the works. Transformation is complete.
Sun isn't up yet, see?
Live long and prosper. Always take your coffee with you.
Coming up later in our look inside Star Trek Voyager, you'll get a rare glimpse of us filming on a planet unlike any other. But when we return, Roxanne Biggs-Dawson will show you what all the well-dressed Voyagers wear in the 24th century. Welcome back. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil, and this is E's one-hour journey inside Star Trek Voyager. How would you like to try on one of these? A genuine Starfleet uniform. Doesn't look too uncomfortable, right? But take it from me, trying it on and spending 12 straight hours working in it are 2 entirely different experiences, as you'll see coming right up. But first, we have an appointment to keep in sickbay, and you don't want to keep Doc Zimmerman waiting.
The sick bay. These are the bio beds where my patients lay down and I treat them, and I push these buttons here. And this is my favorite. This is what we refer to as the clamshell bed. The patient lies down here. We cover them with this sort of lame blanket here, and a clamshell comes up over them and tells us, whether or not they've had seafood for lunch, I guess. I don't know.
Sometimes they say laughter is the best medicine, but when you're ill on the Voyager, it's best to see the doc.
He's completely exhausted. Can some of this wait until he's had a chance to rest? Yes, I've learned quite a bit about medicine working on Star Trek. Unfortunately, it's not medicine that applies to the 20th century, so I can't really share it. I could share it, but you people simply wouldn't understand it.
This is a medical tricorder, and with the detachable scanning device, it will tell me absolutely anything I want to know about whatever tissue that I wave it over.
I take them out with a thingy, and I place them here, and then this lights up, and then I kind of manipulate these thingies, and I draw some conclusion that you believe. This is something that we put on people's limbs to cure them in some way. Did you have any questions?
And action, please.
No. They never let me see him. They interrogated me for almost 2 days straight. They asked me a lot of questions about the Numeri.
Being a patient in sickbay is uncomfortable to say the least, especially when you're injected with one of those big space needles. But not as uncomfortable as trying to get into our spacesuits.
I'm Roxanne. You may not recognize me. I play B'Elanna Torres on Voyager. We are about to go into wardrobe now for a fitting. I'll take you right in. This is where we get fit into all of our costumes. I'm going to get fit into another Starfleet uniform, which will be exactly like the one I wore in the last episode and the episode before and the episode before that, because I basically wear the same thing every time. So I'm going to go get changed right now, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Good morning, Roxanne. How are you today?
Hey, Bob. This is Bob Blackman, our costume designer. He's going to see if this actually fits. What do you think?
While Roxanne is being fitted, we asked the renowned Mr. Blackwell to illustrate his thoughts on Star Trek fashion with the help of a telestrator.
Well, here we have Star Trek 1966. The cigarette girl at the Copacabana. Isn't this a thrill? Look what they did. From a jewelry neckline to a mock turtle. I feel it's boring.
I don't find it boring at all. I actually find it interesting. And I think also for the actor, what happens is that there is enough anonymity with just a color bar at the top that draws focus to their face.
They've got her in the same outfit. I'm sorry. As captain, I would have demanded a better looking wardrobe.
Well, to each his own for fashion in space, but a comfortable fitting wardrobe is another story.
These stirrups, sometimes we will undo them to allow more flexibility in the leg.
Part of it is how to keep, I mean, the use of the stirrup, the elastic stirrup, is to keep a very clean, straight, vertical line to them. Mm-hmm. Now, they're not comfortable, and you sit with those things and there's tension all over your thigh because the pant can't go up.
But they look marvelous.
But they look fabulous.
To have a good butt to be on Star Trek, there's just no doubt about it, because the costumes are tight.
It is not the most comfortable for me, because I like to wear clothes that are very relaxed and very casual.
I've got a little pocket in my pants for my teeth in between takes. Yeah, well, you know, I don't really have anything to carry around except for the keys to my trailer.
Who got a pocket sewn in? I better be talking to my staff.
Pocket for
what? For like wedding rings or things that they want to keep talisman close to their heart?
Bob, I would like a little pocket sewn in on my uniform. I don't know.
I really haven't put much thought into that question. I just sort of say, okay, this is what I have to wear, and I really don't think about it too much.
All I have to do is get my forehead and my wig on. And
exactly. And no jewelry, and you're ready to go.
There we go. I'll
So
be sure
out
to
you
take
go.
the jewelry off.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
You look
Thank
great.
you so much, Bob.
Thank you very much. We're almost ready for our tour of the bridge with Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew. But when we return, it's off to shoot in another world where every second counts and nothing can go wrong.
Just when you think you're gonna die of suffocation.
Okay, reset, please, Captain.
Welcome back to E's Look Inside Star Trek Voyager. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil. So far during this hour, we've focused on the interiors of our ship. But as you know, we don't spend all of our time on board. After all, there are alien planets to explore. But therein lies a unique challenge. Where on Earth can you find a place that can double for the planet Iconia or Erebus Prime, or in the case you're about to see, a planet so unexplored it hasn't even been named yet?
This is a planet that has some vegetation growing on it, and we're sent here to forage for some vegetation, some food.
You expect us to eat that? That's the reason I brought you here, Commander. There's no better source of vitamins and minerals in this quadrant than in this ugly little root.
On Earth, we're at the Bronson Caves. It's nice to get away, and especially on a beautiful day like this.
You're looking at a rare occurrence for Voyager. We only shoot on location about half a dozen times a year.
One of the reasons for that is obvious. You go out into Los Angeles of 1995, and that's what it looks like. It's very hard to find places that look like alien worlds or the 24th century.
Aren't they gorgeous? Yeah. One bite'll kill you.
puff you up like a vacole fish. First, your windpipe starts to swell. And just when you think you're going to die of suffocation.
Okay, reset, please, Admiral.
Did you guys get the teeth popping out? Mm-hmm. Is that funny?
A little bit. I thought it was gum.
That happens a lot.
Does it really?
Well, it's happened about 5 times. It's kind of funny. It's my teeth, which is really sad. You know, I have a very bad dentist.
Humor helps the actors keep their cool on a day like today, when the LA sun heats up to 90 degrees.
Well, it's tougher for me because I've got a colostomy bag glued to my head. There's about 3 inches of rubber here. And so it cooks. And my head feels like a duck in a Chinese restaurant. Simmering.
While Neelix simmers, his fellow Voyagers blow off a little steam.
It's so hot out here.
Where's the water, Garrett?
Oh, I'm sorry. Where's my water?
I am the water boy also. We don't know that. That was in my contract. I provide Robert Beltran with food and drink. Excuse me.
Thank you, Garrett.
You can leave.
The chemistry.
Speaking of chemistry, a few of the actors didn't really excel in the sciences before they worked on Voyager.
Well, I wasn't a science fiction fan.
I failed chemistry when I was in high school. So I have no right to be here.
All right, so he flunked chemistry. But as Voyager's resident chef, Neelix is an expert at finding nutritious delicacies. Even if it tastes so bad, Robert has to spit it out over and over and over again.
But 27 times. It's actually starting to taste good. Oh, that's ginger root. That's what it really is. In our story, it's Leola root.
What we've done is to disguise these and make these look a little bit unusual is we've simply acquired ginger root, applied some interesting paint colors, also injected a little bit ahead of another type of a plant, vegetation, to again make it look a little bit unusual, and we came up with a Leola root, something interesting and something rather tasty.
Meet prop master Alan Sims. When we're in need of foreign food, phasers, or assorted alien paraphernalia, he's the man to see.
I wanted to carry on with some description of props that we designed for Voyager. I have something interesting that I took a lot of pride in being able to establish a IV. We sort of coined these as the Sims beacon. We have a blood gas infuser. This is our Federation phaser, Starfleet phaser, which all of our away crew will always wear in a holster that attaches on the side of their belt. And along with this, more weaponry that we've come up with this season on Voyager is a Kazon rifle phaser.
Tim Russ is the champion phaser drawer right now. He's very quick, but he's practiced a lot longer.
Let's see, who is, Bobby's pretty quick. Robbie McNeil is pretty quick. The captain's not too slow. On occasion we get into it. I think it just depends on who's playing heads-up ball and who's not.
Along with a means of protection, we also require other devices like this tricorder.
Evidently from this you can figure out where you are anywhere in the universe, who you might come in contact with, what their material makeup is all about, their chemical makeup is. It's amazing.
I don't know if you've heard this, but I have actually broken more tricorders than anyone in the history of Star Trek. I have somehow dropped or completely destroyed, I think, three tricorders. Of course, in a Voyager episode, you're going to need aliens, too. And prop master Alan creates these as well.
Yes, well, this is one of our friends. We do have an episode where our away team lands on a planet. He's reading the Star Trek communicator right now. But this is an alien skeletal life form, and it's very rubbery, is what it is. It's a latex covering, and again, with a unique painting process, we even gave him quite an alien skull. As you can see, it's not quite how we know man to be.
As you can see, prop master Alan really loves his job.
I just enjoyed demonstrating all of this.
Okay, I think we've kept you waiting long enough. When we return, our Voyager tour finishes up with a look at the centerpiece of any Star Trek vessel, the bridge, seen through the eyes of our captain, Kate Mulgrew. Welcome back. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil. I'm afraid we've reached the end of our journey inside Star Trek Voyager, so it's time to wrap up the tour of the ship. And, as is the custom in our little corner of the universe, we've saved the best for last, the bridge, and the only person truly qualified to give you a tour.
Hi, this is Kate Mulgrew, otherwise known as Captain Catherine Janeway, of the Federation starship Voyager, and I'm going to give you a little tour of my bridge. These gentlemen behind the camera are strangers in a strange land, but this is becoming progressively more familiar to me, if not intimate indeed. Here we are at Control. This is where my pilot sits, Tom Paris. And he sits here day in and day out, and he just says, just tell me when. That's his line, just tell me when.
Captain, the photonic lattice has reappeared.
Scan it, all sensors.
I don't think anyone has trouble following her, you know, listening to her orders and following them. You know, she's very strong.
My first officer, Chakotay, who is the head of the Maquis, sits here. He often sits here like this. And I, ostensibly, sit in this chair. However, I so seldom sit, it's become a joke. I'm always here saying, if you want to screw around with me, you're in trouble. Somewhere along this journey, you'll find a way back. Garrett Wong plays Harry Kim. And he sits here and looks at us with his angelic face. We all sort of say, we're so in love with you. We can't see straight. Nobody cares what's happening to the boys. Because everybody's madly in love with you, Garrett Wong.
Here's a woman who has to carry the show. You know, she's a mother of 2 kids. And she can make it here every day. She can stand the hours. I can't.
Down we go. And usually we see B'Elanna here. And what I love about B'Elanna is she sort of plays her console like a piano. Nobody knows what's going on.
There's another distinctive feature on the bridge that hangs right behind Roxanne. It's a plaque that honors all the talented people behind the scenes who make Voyager a reality.
For I dipped into the future, far as human eye could see, saw the vision of the world and all the wonder that would be. I can't say it better than Lord Tennyson, can I?
But for how long do the members of Voyager plan to continue their wondrous journey?
I would love to be doing this for as long as people will allow me to.
It's been dictated in the premise of the first episode that it's going to take them 75 years to get back. So I don't think we'll be able to run any more than 75 seasons.
If things continue as they are, which I'm sure they're going to, it's only going to get better and better and better and better and better.
For as long as the helm will have me, sir. And I hope it's a good long time indeed. I have a long way to go before I will be satisfied, I'm sure, with the Janeway that I want to create. So, there's time aplenty for where I need to go. Good work, Doctor. And you get up, and you go over here, and maybe you've wrapped up your day on the bridge, and then everybody just sort of quietly and uniformly goes like this. And that's our day on the bridge. Full thrusters. Good red alert.
As for me, I don't plan on deserting the Voyager crew anytime soon either because, well, to be totally honest, my dad would kill me. He's a longtime Trekker. Thanks for watching Inside Star Trek Voyager. I'm Robert Duncan McNeil. Hope you enjoyed it, Dad.
We'll film this one.
Welcome back. And you know what I said.
Don't you dare go away, because we're about to serve you up a hot, delicious, tasty, steaming cup of talk soup weekend. Next.
What do you mean? All right. Welcome back, everybody. Quite an interesting little look behind the scenes there. Who knew that engineering had an ATM that you could draw money out of?
Or a phone, though. I'll get there.
All right. So a lot of really, really cool information. I'm interested to hear what your favorite segments were. If you learned anything new, facts about the behind the scenes making of. If you just raise your hand either visually on camera. Hi, Malcolm. Welcome. And hello, Mona. Raise your hand either visually on camera or do it with the reactions button at the bottom of the screen. Raise your hand and then lower your hand when you're done, and we'll call you in turn. Let me go to Carlos and then Lawrence and then Lisa. Carlos.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I thought it was funny that he kept on saying, I'm sorry, Duncan was saying that he broke at least 3 tricorders. That was pretty funny. And I'm sure those things weren't cheap even back then because they were awfully handmade, I guess. The other one was Balana, who's talking about her face was numb by the end of the day because of the prosthetics. And then Neelix talking about his teeth falling out. That was pretty funny too. And I like Kate when she was saying that the part where she's sitting by Lieutenant station and saying, "We all love you. We all love you so much." I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, I was particularly interested in the Roxanne Dawson segments when she was on because she of all the cast, she's one of the ones that I know the least about, and so I was really interested. And when she said that she, had a 4-hour makeup process and she would fall asleep in her chair and then wake up and look like a Klingon, that's a pretty cool thing, to be able to sit there and take a nap and wake up and you look completely and utterly differently. So I'm very interested to hear some of her takes on filming this.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. And the segment when Neelix's teeth flew out was ridiculously funny. Like I laughed so hard. And then they showed it again, which was great because yeah, interesting.
Well, you're cool.
Yeah. Lawrence.
I think I always love the part where like everyone's kind of like their funny moments of they always screw up on the technical babble because sometimes they might show up in bloopers and like special features like in DVDs and physical media. So and of course they actually dive into like all the look and the conventions and actually I think they had an interview with like the fashion expert with Richard Blackman. If you ever know, that's a cool one I actually enjoyed.
I have 2 notes about the technobabble aspect of it. One, who knew that Garrett Wang was so good with the technobabble? I mean, when he gave the tour of engineering, and he was, pointing everything out, and he was using all this technical jargon on the interview. And then when it looked like he was on a red carpet affair, and he was talking about how the technobabble comes in 3s or 5s, and he just randomly spit them out. I mean, I imagine they get pretty practiced at it, but that was very interesting to see Garrett be so good at it. The other thing that I noticed was Robert Picardo, when they were filming him in the sickbay, and he kept pointing stuff out, but he was like, yeah, I touch these thingies, and then it does this, and then these thingies, and then I use this thingy to scan, and like he had no idea of that, or either that or he was being funny, which is also possible. So
well, that's his character. I mean, we have met him in conventions, and one thing that he actually does in conventions, and a lot of people may not know this, but he uses his phone, and if he sees a character that he's interested in,
a cosplayer,
yes, he will follow and he will talk to that person or whatever and do a little skit and tape it on his camera.
Yeah.
And you see this little skit or him being chased by a Gorn or something like that, and he's filming it, and it is so cool, so funny. He's the only one that I saw. This is 30 years ago, and he hasn't changed. He is just that same way 30 years later. I do wish that I'm so a little bit disappointed that McNeil,
Robert,
yeah, that he cancels a lot of the activities that he's invited to.
Like conventions, yeah.
Yes, especially the cruise, because I really would love to see him and Garrett Wang in a cruise together. Because I mean, we know Garrett.
They would be a hoot together.
We know Harry Kim or Garrett Wang, and he is a hoot. He is a very, very sweet guy. I cannot imagine them together. That would be like, oh.
Well, they do have the Delta Flyers podcast, if you guys aren't aware of that. And they go over all the episodes of Voyager, and now I think they're doing Deep Space Nine.
They do?
So, yeah.
Oh, I've got to see that.
Are they doing Deep Space Nine now? Is that right?
They're doing Deep Space Nine now.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was that or the Decon Chamber, but with Connor Trenier and.
Well, I thought the whole documentary was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yes,
Yeah,
I learned so much about it, and it was hilarious.
You know, a funny story about Robert Picardo. He said it in this mini documentary. He wasn't really a Star Trek fan before this. He didn't watch Star Trek. He knew of it, but when he got the script, when they sent them the script and said, "We want you to come audition for this part," initially he refused because he was busy doing other acting work, and he said, "I don't have time for this." He was sitting on his bed. He picked up the script and he said, "I don't have time for this," and he threw the script to the other side of the bed, and he was like, "I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go to the audition." And then he got a phone call a little later in the evening from a female friend of his who had just auditioned for Janeway. And I didn't write the name down. I apologize, but one of his friends. And she said, "Did you read the script and did you audition yet? Because this is an amazing thing." And so Robert Picardo said, "Let me give it a second look." He stayed up all night reading the script for Caretaker. And then he called his agent in the morning and said, "I want to go audition for this. I want to be a part of this." But he wanted to audition for Neelix. He didn't want to be the Doctor. He wanted to be Neelix, which is very interesting.
Well, speaking of Neelix, I was so surprised, and now I know why he got the part. His mother was a producer.
One of the Star Trek producers, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder. I mean, he has the best of the best of the best, and he is I gotta face it.
No, he's talented.
He's a heck of an actor.
You're talking about Ethan Phillips.
Yeah, he's a really, really good actor.
He is.
But wow, some of them they have this door open and they run with it, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
And look where he's at right now.
Yeah. Malcolm, and then Malcolm, Mona, and then Kierce. Go ahead, Malcolm.
You're muted.
So a
There
couple
you
of things. Garrett Wang's so good at the technobabble. I'm surprised he hasn't been hired by one of the high-end phone companies when they're selling it. He could just say whatever, and people would go out and buy it before they figured out any of it. So I thought
He
that was
needs a promotion.
Yeah. And Neelix, I had no idea he had to get up at 3 a.m. to get that on. I thought, those dots, they just kind of put them on, and it puts on the thing. But it's like, wow. So those hours.
He woke up at 11 to be there by 3.
Yeah, he woke up at 11 p.m. to be at the studio.
Oh yeah, the shower, and then there at 3, and it's like it's not many hours of sleep. So
but in all those little dots, oh my God, each one of them individually sprayed on. It's like, geez, that guy must have been tired with his hand. Can you imagine?
I would imagine that he probably had the earliest of any call time because his makeup was probably, with the exception of maybe B'Elanna, his makeup was the most complex out of everybody on the cast. So
I'm kind of surprised they didn't have an overlay that has the holes and just kind of
yes, and spray it. Yeah, exactly, like a template. Yeah,
I did find out yesterday. If you remember the pilot episode Caretaker, the scene where Tuvok is sent to the guest quarters to pick up Neelix, and Neelix is taking a bath, and he's sitting there in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't have a shirt on. He was kind of half out of the water. They had a prosthetic shoulder that they created for the spots that Neelix has.
Yeah.
And it fit down over his head like football shoulder pads. and that went all the way down to the waterline. And so that's how they did that. Instead of actually spray painting his body, it was a prosthetic that they put on.
And I didn't know Tim Ross has a wig.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know. I thought that was his hair, but no, it was a complete wig. And then poor guy, can you imagine having to go out with half of eyebrows because he has to shave it?
Well, they were slanted in a specific way. That's the Vulcan, like Vulcans have them.
Yes, but when he's not a Vulcan and he's not working, he has to go out grocery shopping or whatever without an eyebrow.
If you're on
He
that,
has
you wouldn't really care.
He has prosthetic eyebrows. He slaps on there for the other times.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
it's interesting. He was talking about how when they put the ears on, the
Yeah.
glue is so strong that if you don't properly take it off, the ears will stay on for weeks. And I wonder, I know of a story from DS9 where a earthquake happened during filming, and everybody rushed home, like all the actors and production crew rushed home to make sure their homes were fine. And Armin Shimmerman drove home with his cork makeup on to go to his house. And so I wonder if any of the actors had to do that at some point where they had a late running day and an early call the next. They just left their makeup on and went home.
Yeah.
Imagine pulling up next to that at a red light.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Malcolm. I know that you were talking and we kind of like you didn't say much. Anything else that you needed to say? Because
that was the main thing I wanted to say. But I was thinking of one thing quickly from yesterday when we were talking about how big the shuttle bay is, and I'm thinking like, hey, we've got Neelix's ship in there, and we've got the Delta Flyer in there, and however many they had already. Maybe it was bigger than we thought, but that's from yesterday.
Yeah, no. If you go to Paramount, I used to work in a TV show that was filmed behind the Star Trek
stage.
Those stages they're pretty big.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you walk in, you go, wow.
Yeah.
So
Cavernous.
Yeah, because at first I thought, well, they're just little rooms, and then they film and they change and they do this. No, those sound stage are huge.
Yeah, pretty big. Thank you for being patient. Let me go to Mona and then Kierce. Mona, good morning. Happy New Year.
Hey.
It's the first time I've seen you this year.
No,
I know I've been moving and busy, so I don't have long to say on here either. But I wanted to comment that the facts or trivia that they put on the screen about how often a con would happen over the year, how many books are bought every day or whatever, and the Trek word that's in the dictionary. I wonder how that has all changed, because this documentary looked like it was about 50 years old. So I wonder how much all of those facts have changed over all these years.
That's a really good question. And I was
13 books a minute.
Yeah, 13 Star Trek books sold every minute.
Oh
was
my
one of
God.
them.
Yes.
Over 400,000 requests to rename the space shuttle orbiter into the Enterprise. And then Trekker showing up as the only fan-related word in the dictionary. Those are all amazing facts I didn't know. So
And how many cons and how often cons were held throughout the year. I don't remember the numbers. I just know that he said something about that too.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, there was a lot.
They said 400,000 people a year will go in through so they had
That's
to
just
make all,
creation.
they had to make all these a product.
Yeah.
To cover 400,000 people a year.
That's just creation.
That's amazing.
One specific con company. And back in the 90s, creation used to do dozens and dozens and dozens of conventions around the country. They have since cut that down a lot. I think so now they only do one Star Trek convention a year, or they did in Vegas. Now they're starting to do some in regional cities.
Yeah. Aren't they the missions?
No, that's Reed Pop.
Oh,
which is
I
no
thought they
longer-
were missions.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, very interesting point. And I'd love to, just like you, I would love to see how those stats have changed in the modern era of Trek.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more.
Maybe.
I can think of a
Kierce.
lot more words that are probably in the dictionary by now.
Well, right now by itself, I think there are schools and colleges in California that do offer Klingon class.
There are 2 universities nationwide that offer Klingon as a language.
Yeah, as a language.
Which one?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I apologize. But I know that there are 2. I just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And come to think of it, Star Wars fans don't have a term for that, right? We have Trekkers. What are they?
Correct.
Warsians? I don't know. They don't-
Star Warsians?
Star Wars sucks. No, I'm just kidding. It really doesn't. I'm also a fan of that.
The other word is
Curious.
Trekkie.
Yeah, right? Curious, go ahead.
Yeah.
I wanted to come back to the point about Ethan Phillips being cast, saying that he was cast because his mom was a producer. You know, Ethan Phillips throughout this documentary said he seemed to have a sense of humor and seemed to be joking a lot. So I was wondering, is that actually true, or was he making that up just to, entertain the fans, entertain the people watching the documentary? Because I've never heard that. And, he is really too talented to have been cast just because mom said, I want you to have this really major part in this show.
Yeah.
If you one thing to, have him cast as like the background person who, pushes buttons and occasionally hands someone a pad and gets paid really, really well to hand someone a pad.
Yeah, no,
It's a good question. I don't know.
It is. I don't think I think that by his mom being a producer, he had an easier way.
What she's saying is that entirely true? Is his mom a producer?
I think so.
I read something about it
He might have
yesterday,
gotten
but
the
I
audition.
didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, he might have gotten the audition
he
because of mom.
Right. Now he earned, I'm sure he did a heck of an audition and he earned the part, but it was easier for him to get into the audition than it would be for somebody that you have to go through, because a lot of those auditions, if you don't have a manager, you're not going to get into the audition. And to get a manager, it is really hard to get a manager. So he probably had a nice door to open and got the opportunity, his foot in. Now he did the work. I'm sure he did the work, because he is a heck of an actor.
Let me look it up again, and I'll get you an answer on that, because I read something yesterday. I didn't write it down because I just ran out of time. But there is, if you go to Memory Alpha to Caretaker, the episode, there's a whole section on the bottom, behind the scenes facts. And a lot of one of the sections is about casting. So let me find a great answer for you, and I'll get back to you on it.
Yeah. And what Lisa said would make sense. Maybe he had an in to get the audition, but once he got the in to get the audition, it was on him to actually earn the right to be cast.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And that's reminiscent of Christian Slater from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, because his mother was one of the casting agents on that movie, and he was a huge Star Trek fan, and she wanted to give him an opportunity, so she got permission to add him into the rotation of people that were auditioning, but it was on him to snag the role, and so that might makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
My
yesterday,
mother is,
before you came onto the link, before you came into the discussion, somebody posted they had a photograph and they were asking, who is this guy? Well, Gene Roddenberry rewarded him for organizing all these conventions back in the 70s by making him vegan crewman in Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Kirsten, I've been in a lot of movies, over 150, and some of them I have seen where background people, the directors would compensate them by giving them a line, and it just one line. That's all it takes. Once you get that line, the compensation is that if you are credited in the credits, you get residuals, and that's your compensation.
Yeah.
And all you need is that name on that credit, and you're done. You're woohoo.
Yeah. Lawrence says in chat, and this is going back to the Klingon language we were talking about, on Duolingo, you can
Duolingo.
learn Klingon and other languages from your phone. And I'm not sure if that's free or whatnot, but yes, Duolingo.
It is. It is.
Is
I've
it?
done
Okay.
it.
So you can definitely learn
Because I'm doing it right now.
Awesome.
I'm
And
doing
then Valerie says in chat, her 2 cents is that Ethan Phillips was already an established actor, which is true. He had a very long-running part in Benson, along with Renee Auberjonois from Deep Space Nine. So yeah, I think for the not even the majority, some of these actors, like Robert Ricardo, was also a major established actor. He was working a lot of big, gigs. And so,
Well, let's just say, for example, Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Christian Slater in the 80s or 90s, whatever, whenever he was old enough, he's been in just about the Rat Pack, a lot of movies. Well, his mother is a
casting agent.
I'm sure that she cast every single movie that he's been in. But
Maybe.
it's because being a casting agent, she will say, hey, this is going on. Here's your opportunity.
Maybe.
But he earned it.
Yeah.
He had to have earned it. Just because my mother is a casting agent, that doesn't mean I already have a part for sure, because I could suck. And if I'm auditioning, what part am I good for?
Right, exactly. All right. Hey, Risa joined us. Hello, Risa.
Hi.
It felt so lonely looking at the screen, and it was just Malcolm. I was like, where's Risa?
I thought Malcolm was outside. He was alone and with his hat. I thought, he's outside in the cold. Where is Risa?
Like that.
Yeah, well, I'm fighting a cold and had a hard time getting up this morning, but I'm here now. Yay!
We'll feel better. Thank you.
We're fixing to get hit by a big snowstorm here, so I get it. I
10
understand.
to 12
It's cold.
inches. It
I
went from
will
1
show you
to
what it
3.
looks like outside. Bright sun. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sorry, we're California.
You're totally fine.
Yeah, the grocery stores are outrageously filled. I mean, it is a nightmare out there because it went from 1 to 3 yesterday.
1 to 3 inches.
And now it's 10 to 12.
It is 10.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
And it starts tonight.
Yeah, you have to shovel early and often, as I recall. We lived in New Hampshire for a while, and oh boy.
Yeah, they're calling it for a day and a half because it starts tonight after 10, all the way up to Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as Kirsten says in chat, and I'll echo this for the rest of the Star Trek family, if you are in the path of this winter storm, please be safe. Make sure that you've got, extra blankets out and food and things that, you can.
Oh, look, Mona's getting 10 inches too.
Mona's already getting snow. Just be careful and, shelter or help, shelter in place. Is that what they call it? Yeah. Batten down the hatches.
Try to stay off the roads if you can.
Kristen say, take care of those of you, the path of the storm.
Let me go to Sammy, and then I'll go to Malcolm and Risa. Sammy?
Just think about how shocked you guys were at all the products and dolls and books that were sold. And think about the contracts in the 90s. The actors didn't get profit off that. They used their faces or their images because they're working for a studio, and the studio got the profit. So think about that, millions of dollars. That's why when they get the strikes recently, they put in there, they're going to get profit. And they can even get back pay for certain things. So that's why certain actors are very happy now, but you're seeing less actors, the real famous ones like Angelina Jolie and other people doing projects right now because they're going to cost a lot for the studios. And they're like, so it was blessed to have the Comic-Cons and everything. You guys bought their stuff, but they did not get the profits.
Oh, it's a shame. Wow.
But you know what, Sammy? I'm glad that you mentioned that. I've seen dolls that were done back in the, in the early ages.
The early ages?
Back in the day.
Back in the days, and now I am happy that now they get the residuals than then, because back then they did not look like them as much as
some of
they
them did.
and not as much as they do now. Now you see them and you go, "Oh my God, they're beautiful.
Technology
They're perfect."
Yeah, it's technology is what's happened. I'd say about 50 to 60% looked like them and some didn't. But also with the special effects makeup, I took some classes at Long Beach City College. And with those prosthetic ears, because you have to realize in the 90s you have all these I forget what their names are, but like special effects makeup artists that were experimenting with techniques and different paints and different things and different glues to get these prosthetics to stick and look really well on camera. And with those ears, because in 2010, there's an easy way to get them off, and then there's if you just pull, no, you're gonna get some skin with it. It's so I bet you that happened with Tim Russ a bit, because if you're really tired early morning and then the makeup artist they've already left or something, or they don't have time to take it off, it's going to be a pain. And yeah.
I agree, especially when we're talking about something as complicated as Neelix's or Balana's makeup. And I want to go back to the point that you made earlier about sort of the merchandising. I know Bess and I have pointed out on previous Zooms that the merchandising that you saw in the 90s and maybe even early 2000s has pretty much dried up. I mean, Paramount does not license a whole lot of products now. You don't see you don't go into a toy store and there's a Star Trek section anymore. And even when they do get a product out on the shelves, like I remember last year there were some Star Trek products in the Walmarts and the Targets. That's gone now. Like they're not very good about the marketing now. But in the 90s, it was the golden age of being a collector, because they had everything.
But you know why? Because now you can get everything online. Back then you didn't.
No, there are no products available, is what I'm saying.
You go online and you can get a lot of products.
It's actually more easier.
It has to do with
you can buy stuff.
Also.
It's been made, but there's nothing new being
They're not
made.
going to make a lot if they have to pay the actors.
Yeah.
You're going to keep it close to the pocket, and Paramount's going to have it just like on StarTrek.com or Amazon. And there's people who did T-shirts and mugs and other things and did the tribbles, and they had to close and say, we're not going to get the license again because they just raised the price and we can't afford it for our company. And that's Paramount wants to do. So you're not going to have many products anymore.
I wish they would license fabric.
Yeah,
It is because Paramount has the license for everything, but then they don't do anything.
But wouldn't they make more money if they licensed products?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, that's what they would do. Yeah.
So if you have to
you
pay
would think so.
a big sum of
But
money,
they have a
for each
pretty exorbitant licensing fee that companies have to pay to be able to have the right to sell that merchandise. And I know recently there was a really popular tribble company that was making tribbles that food and odd like a tribble. They were selling them at conventions, and they were making good sales with the company, but they just couldn't continue to afford the annual fee they had to pay to Paramount for licensing.
Oh,
and so
wow.
It was important because all the money that they made from sales would have to go to Paramount for their license.
and to make the product.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and as far as the makeup concerned, Sammy, so you know, the makeup artist, there's always one at the end of each show to remove all the prosthetics.
Dang, when I was on certain shows like the Gilmore Girls, they left. And other shows, they would leave if they needed it.
That's not good.
No.
I did really enjoy the segment of the show where they were talking about how each one of the actors reacted to seeing their own action figure.
Yeah.
And how they would be sort of blasé, nonchalant about it. Oh, there's an action figure of me. But then as soon as they got their action figure, they would go to their trailer and open it up and look at it and dissect it and play with it. And they were all excited about it. I thought that was funny.
I can't
like
hear.
me. Okay.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like
Malcolm.
kids. Yeah, they were like kids.
Yeah, I just wanted to say back when there seemed to be interest about learning Klingon, I didn't know if people knew that on Duolingo, it's online and basically free. You can learn all kinds of languages, including Hawaiian and Klingon. Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, that's why I said that first earlier.
Probably Babel might have it too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I guess
Hello, Bess.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad I could make it. I just wanted to echo what you said, Mark, about the merchandising. You and I have had this conversation many times. I end up talking about this a lot. And I'm not even like the biggest purchaser of all the things, but it's like when I want something, I'm like, where is it? Like I want all the Star Trek Discovery things, and there's not that much out there.
Yeah.
I want Ash Tyler, I want Ash Tyler, from season 2. I want Section 31 Ash Tyler. I want Commander Michael Burnham. I want Captain Michael Burnham with the long braids. I want Mirror Michael Burnham. I want Saru with the knife. I think that one actually exists. Saru with his special Kelpian blade. That one exists. But I also want, a lot of people, like I just thought like when the Moopsie episode of Lower Decks came out, like the merchandising department should have just been ready with that. You know what I'm saying? Like a week after it launched, they should have been like, and by the way, it's going to be in stores on this date. So many people have created the Moopsie. And a friend of mine actually has one that's probably like shelf, like professional grade Moopsie with even like the little sound. It says Moopsie, just like the thing. It just feels like a missed opportunity. And I also feel like if their licensing fee is so high that people can't continue to be profitable and pay the fee, it seems to me that the point of the franchising fee is to put them out of business. And that's the part that doesn't make sense to me with Paramount and Star Trek. I always feel like they're two steps forward, one step back a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There are just so many. There's just so many things that would fly off the shelves right now if they made it like not even a question. Like it's just money on the table. There's just money that they're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
Sure. And I agree wholeheartedly. And I think that is a very valid sort of on the nose point that you made that, and I can't speak for them obviously because I don't know. It would appear the appearance is that Paramount's goal is to put these companies out of business. Paramount is one of those companies that is super protective of its properties, right? Because they don't want people doing things outside of their approval, which is understandable. They don't want them to ruin a product or a property. But all you have to do is look at, and I want to use them as an example, but I know that there's feelings about them. Disney, who owns Indiana Jones, they own Star Wars, they own Marvel.
Right.
And look at the merchandising that they have. They are a
Exactly.
powerhouse.
Yes.
And they do it right.
Precisely why they why
It's
they
one thing, exactly. It's one thing if they were protecting, other manufacturers because they're already manufacturing their stuff and they want to protect the original product,
Right.
But it's another because that's what Disney's probably doing, right? They're making everything, so nobody wants anything Disney that's not Disney. But you could go to Forever 21 and get a Disney t-shirt with Mickey Mouse on it, and they've licensed it. Disney's like, okay, send us a little money and make your t-shirt. It's cute. They're not 100% closed off to other manufacturers, but Paramount is not doing that. They're not making a ton of cool stuff and putting something out there to protect what they're making from other people trying to make knockoffs.
Yeah.
They're making it really hard for anybody, to get anything. So anyway, I'm repeating myself.
It's very true.
I really do dream of, like more Star Trek Discovery things. I would like to see, on behalf of my Moopsie loving friends, I would like to see a Paramount licensed Moopsie official toy for them.
Would too.
Yeah.
I remember.
2 years ago, Bez, I went to Walmart and I just so happened to be with Mark. And because I wanted to get it for Christmas for him, I said, I'll come back later and get it when I'm not with him. And it was this beautiful, really amazing model of I think it was
one of the chefs. It was one of the chefs.
And I want and I saw him seeing it, and I'm like, oh God, no, because I wanted to surprise him.
It was a full shelf of
Yes.
models.
And I went literally days later and I couldn't find it. This is 2 years ago and I'm still trying to locate it.
They flew off the shelves.
I can't even find it on Amazon. I
Yeah.
can't even find it anywhere. They don't make them anymore. Why?
It's not that they don't make them; it's that they don't distribute them anymore. I mean, you can still buy them on Amazon, but that's
I can't find it on Amazon.
No, she can't find it anywhere. That means they've stopped production and there's not much resale happening. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yep, same thing.
I do know that they made an announcement about a year and a half ago, and then we'll move on to Kears because she's been patient. They made an announcement about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that they were developing a line of action figures for Discovery and also for Prodigy. And then sometime last year they said, yeah, we're not going to do that. And that's the last I've heard is that they canceled the line that they were producing. I don't know. So it's a shame.
There's a lot of fans out there that if they would provide the merchandise, they would be making money.
Yeah.
Sure. Wonder that.
All right. Let me go over to Kears, and then we'll work our way down the line. Kears.
Yeah, I mean, tying in with the merchandising discussion, if they would, I can see that they want to be protective of their characters. They might not want, say, their characters on, I don't know, certain products. They might not want their characters on really suggestive underwear or on illegal drugs, or something. I mean, I'm not sure that the illegal drug dealers are going to request a license anyways, but, I'm trying to think of, products that we can all agree are bad. But if they would even say with their license, okay, we want approval of the stickers before you start selling them so that we know you're not making stickers with Captain Kirk saying, everybody go out and buy cocaine, or, everybody go out and commit mass murder, or whatever. Make the licensing fees reasonable and, we would buy them. I really want a Rock Talk stuffed animal figure because I like Rock Talk.
Yeah.
But I love Prodigy. I want my Rock Talk.
This is a big one too.
I want, I want more. I don't want a ton of T-shirts, but I love Janeway, and so I want like a bunch of Janeway tote bags because tote bags are my thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love postcards. I collect postcards, and I do needlework. And I don't like the cross stitch fan art that's available, so I want some better stitching.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
I just think that there's a ton of. I mean, you think about all of the shows, all the series, all the movies, all of the animated stuff. I mean, there is a ton of licensing material that they could get. Products that would really bank Paramount a lot of money. And we all know that Paramount's been struggling financially for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
So come on, open up the coffers a little bit.
Yeah, and then you go to a cruise and they have a lot of merchandise on the cruise, but good grief, 4 or 5 times the price. It's like, hello.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so expensive to go on the cruise? Because they pay the licensing.
Well, the cruise is expensive as it is. Then I'm going to spend another much more to try to get a merchandise.
Another much more.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying.
Exactly. And there's nothing in that middle price range or that price range that, okay, I'm not going to buy a collector's plate and I'm not into action figures personally. I have nothing against them, but they're not me. So I'm not going to spend even $1.99 on action figures because I don't have room for them.
I love all those things. I have a huge collection
Yeah, I
growing,
mean-
and I love it.
Oh,
I'm like a little boy.
Yeah, I mean, other people,
seen the room yet.
but everybody likes different things.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's true,
likes
and that's
different
totally
things.
fine. Yeah.
So cater to
Very true.
everybody and sell everything. Sell bumper stickers, action figures, magazines,
Or
DVDs,
this?
you know, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
Excellent.
this?
You have the Funkos. I've got the Hallmark ornaments. Sell
Yeah.
to everybody. Become the Ferengi of Star Trek stuff licensing.
They should. They should.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Let me move on to Malcolm and Risa, who's been very patient, and then we'll work down the line here. Malcolm, Risa.
Yep. Excuse me, I was thinking the same thing with the merchandising. You know, for a company that's in financial difficulty, it's a very poor business model to not, you know, let their licensing and maybe, you know, they don't have to sell it for that much. And I'm sure they've got to have contracts to say, okay, yes, you can have the license, you know, but then there's a contract of approval of, you know, what you can and can't do and stuff. I know there's an artist on Facebook that does some amazing work, and she has to go through the approval process so she can, I can't remember her name. I'm sure you all know who she is. She does some really cool things, but it just makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I don't know, maybe we could do like a writing campaign to Paramount and, you know, and maybe, I don't know if that would make a difference or not, but you know, I would love to get Star Trek fabric and all of these things. It's like ridiculous. They're shooting themselves in the foot when they're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They
sorry.
really,
Yeah. It's
they
like
really
the,
are.
it's like the line from Spaceballs. Merchandising, whether real money from the movie is made.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
well,
an excellent point.
It
It's
is.
an excellent point. Because, you know, Paramount doesn't make a whole lot. I mean, collectively, yes, but from your little $9.99 Paramount Plus subscription, they're not making a whole ton of money on any of their properties at that rate. So yeah, merchandising is the way to go, and it continues to be for me a very undersaturated, there's just not enough attention on that with Paramount. I think they need to fix that.
They need to fire the advertisement division and rehire brand new people
The licensing.
that makes sense and know what we are talking about.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
absolutely.
Carlos, for pretty much the last, I'll do Lawrence too. Carlos and Lawrence for the last thoughts of the day, and then we'll call it the end of this segment. Carlos.
Well, I would, I guess, kind of reiterate what everybody else has already chimed in on, basically, that I mean, like I said, if you're having financial problems, why can't you just crack the doors open and say, we'll sell everything under the sun, you know, to make that money? You know, like you said, it's a gold mine that they're not taking advantage of. And I understand, you know, from a perspective that they don't want anything salacious or anything, you know, ridiculous coming out. But come on, like Chris said, they're not going to be licensing, you know, Star Trek drugs, basically, or, you know, with the labeling. You boldly go where nobody else has gone before, kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah. They can have, yeah.
But
they can have licensing that says, okay, if you buy this license, this is what you can do.
Right.
And that's it. You go over it.
Let's be fair.
Done.
Paramount will have a lengthy and ridiculously attention detailed approval process for any product that they license. You know, if somebody comes and says, we have X product, we want to sell it on the market, they pay the licensing fee. Before they can do that, there is an approval process. So you're not going to get, you know, Star Trek cocaine, take a drink at Warp 9, you know, type of stuff on the market. That's just not going to happen. So, but yeah, the point is valid that, you know, Paramount is protecting their license, their property, while at the same time getting products out there to make money from all of us.
Yeah, I think they're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah,
that's all.
But I do like the Ferengi point of view. For all the latinum you can make.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
They would
why not?
solve their financial problem if they opened up merchandising.
I agree.
I mean, they could actually do gold plating or something like that with the gold exchange, and make make platinum or palladium or whatever Ferengi gold, because they could have
gold
with
press
this.
platinum.
Yeah,
Gold press platinum.
gold press platinum. There you go. Make some money off of that.
Coins. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, earrings for us
just
women,
work through it.
earrings, necklaces, rings,
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure.
You know?
Yep. All right, Lawrence.
Well, yeah. Now everyone else is littering on the other stuff. Why don't you just like release like more like ship products or like more books or better yet, more Pop Funkos of Star Trek characters because people will buy the Pop Funkos for Star Trek because those are rare to find. You have to like they like cost like twice as much on a third party seller than you can buy them in a regular store. So that's why I'm always like when I go to comic book stores, I always look at Pop Funkos like either Lower Decks or like Mariner, anybody that you never had born there. So I mean, it actually is a gold mine, and you actually could make your money back from all the stuff from all the shows that year, and you can pay your people, actors, the entire staff. I mean, everybody. If you're having financial problems, it solves.
Who do you have there?
That's Tendy.
It's Tendy.
From Lower Deck.
Tendy,
She's great.
the Lower Deckers.
You're Ryan.
Oh,
She's the Orion. Yeah.
You're Ryan.
I've just got for Christmas. I got the Funko Pop. That's a combination of Kirk and Spock on either side of the glass from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. When Spock dies, I just got that.
Oh,
wow!
It's like $40.
And I got a little ducky, and the duck is actually Spock, and it's like this with
Oh,
the
the
ears
Spock duck.
and the,
That's
and
so
the wig
cute.
and everything.
It's very cute.
It's about this big though, but it's so adorable.
Yeah, we love that Spock duck.
Oh yeah, the Spock duck. Spock duck.
All right, Malcolm and Risa for the final thought of the day, for the final thought of this segment.
Well, mine is that you certainly couldn't do the cocaine, but you can still get Sudafed, but you got to sign for it. So I was thinking we call it Star Trek Warp 3 Sudafed.
There you go.
There you go.
You need to work for their marketing. You need to work for their marketing,
for them.
Malcolm.
These letters and send it to them, man, because we have great ideas.
Sure.
Yeah.
They should hire all of us.
Hire us. Yeah.
They should,
hire
yeah.
the Star Trek
Collectively, we
people.
could make a great team here.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Yes.
Seriously.
That's
Get a few
That's
fans
about all the
together and
time
make
we
it
have
happen.
for. I'm sorry, Bess. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, I'm just amplifying everybody else. Like, just get a few serious fans together. We'll make it happen. They don't even know what they're missing out on. They don't need
Yeah,
execs.
maybe
They need
should
real
research an address or something. Better letter writing campaign. No kidding.
It's like a movie Big, right? You need an actual kid to tell you if it's a fun toy or not like a bunch of
Thank
executives.
you. Like
I'm
big.
a big kid. I'm
Thank
as
you.
big as the kids come.
Yes.
I love that movie big.
Yeah, dude.
We're
Oh,
Star
that was
Trek kids.
amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, that's about all the time we have for this segment. I appreciate everybody coming out and joining us to help celebrate Voyager 30. I hope you enjoyed that little Inside mini documentary from, I believe, 1995. The video link by itself is available on YouTube. I will make it available on the Facebook page if you want to watch it again. The link for this Zoom will also be on our YouTube channel for you to rewatch.
Nice.
Just to go over the schedule for the rest of today. Let me see here. We have 2 more events today. The next is at 4:00 p.m. We're going to be doing just a normal watch party, and we're going to be watching Counterpoint, which is a great episode. It's one of my faves. Really a great exposition for Janeway. And just so you know, the commando. I forget the character's name, but the commando that is the guest star in this episode,
It's Mark.
Harlick, is joining us next weekend for a Q&A along with 2 other great actors. So look for that in our events under the events tab. That's at 4:00 p.m. on the East Coast. Tonight, we have our first big Q&A, which covers the Voyager documentary that is being produced right now. And we have both the producer and 2 co-directors and the editor together. It's being moderated by my friend Amy Imhoff. Please come to that. Please, if you just want to find out what the status is of the documentary, if you have questions about the process, about distribution, and when we can expect to see it, on DVD, this is a great time to get on and talk to these gentlemen and find out more about this great documentary. So, and they're going to be showing us a couple of sneak peek clips from the documentary, which hasn't been aired except for three premiere airings they did for backers of the.
What time is that at, Mark?
That's at 7:00 p.m. on the East Coast.
4.
So hope you
Or
join
just
us.
4
for
o'clock
that.
our time.
Yeah, 4:00 on the West Coast. Yep, that's right. So we'll do that on the next one. We've already done it.
I believe we got to see a little bit of the preview of that documentary at the Dallas convention.
Really?
Nice.
They showed a second.
Get out of
Yeah.
here. Swear.
Yeah, no, if I remember right, because it showed like Garrett Wang and somebody else going through the old lot, and they were like, yeah, that's the lot we used to go to, and this used to be so and so's office. So keep an eye out for that scene if it's the same one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And it looks really, if it's the same thing, it looks really good, guys. So don't miss that for sure. And we get to talk to them.
I'm really
very
looking
cool.
forward to it because I was invited to go to the New York premiere that they did for the financial backers, the people that supported them financially in making the documentary. I was invited, but I couldn't make it. And I was so bummed out because I really wanted to see it. And I heard from people that went that it is phenomenal. So you're not going to want to miss tonight's Q&A. That's a really great way to end the weekend and celebrate Voyager for charity. So hopefully we'll see you guys at 4:00 p.m., which is in about an hour and 9 minutes. 4:00 p.m. Yeah, 4:00 p.m. That was good. High five. Okay. 4:00 p.m. Live long and prosper. And thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for being members of the Star Trek family. And yeah, awesome. Thank you all for coming. See you at 4:00. Have a great day if we don't see you again.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I need to win. I need to win that book.
Yeah, I put my name in the drawing too. I think did you see my
I
name?
entered in the drawing. Well, I don't know how to
Awesome.
enter.
Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it.
Put my name in there. I donated.
Oh, my name.
4.
Swear, I donated too.
We appreciate your generosity. We really do. And we'll draw that name later this evening. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.